let's start with today's class. So we have conducted two lectures so far in the ABAP basic ABAP course. So in the first class we have covered the basics of an SAP ERP system. The second class we have covered, that was conducted yesterday. We have covered uh, the basic syntaxes used to develop an ABAP program. Transaction SE38 we have explored, via which we can create a report program. We have also seen what you can say, the basic layout of an SAP screen, the menu bar, the application toolbar, title bar, the command window in which we type in the T codes that we have covered, uh, how we connect with the SAP application server using logon pad, that has been explained. So in today's class, we'll further explore uh, programming concepts in SAP ABAP. So what we'll do is we'll quickly go to SC38. As we saw, SC38 is the transaction code which we use to uh, create or display or change an existing program. Okay? Or we can create a new program as well in this particular T code. SC38, please remember this T code is for ABAP editor. Okay? So as we go along this course, you will become more and more familiar with these T codes. T code stands for transaction code. This was also covered yesterday. So SC38 is ABAP editor. Okay, go to SC38. So just we'll quickly go through yesterday's program and then we'll just carry on with a new program and we'll understand new concepts. What we covered yesterday are the basic data types, okay, that are present. What we call them as elementary data types in ABAP: C, N, D, T, string, I, P, and X. Okay. So we also covered the parameter statement yesterday. The parameter statement is responsible for creating the selection screen. Okay, what is the syntax to declare a particular data variable? Data variable in ABAP is also called as data object. Okay, that is what we saw yesterday. We explored how to use the debugger as well using the breakpoint statement. We saw how the date is handled in ABAP internally as well as while printing the date, how it is printed, that we saw yesterday. So today we'll explore these concepts further. In today's class, we'll create a new program and we'll do the development in a new program. Okay. So just type in the name of a program that you want to create. So yesterday I had explained that if the program or the application, ABAP application that you are developing is a custom one, then you need to start the name with Z or Y. Okay, Z or Y indicates that Z or Y prefix before the name of the program indicates that it's a custom program. It is not provided by SAP, and the customer is developing the program. Okay, so just click on display to check whether this a program with this name exists in the system. So if not, it's going to give you an error that this particular program name does not exist in the system. Just go ahead and create one. Okay. The mandatory inputs are the title bar. Just give the title bar second lecture. Okay. As you know, we are currently exploring the executable program. Yesterday also, we had created an executable program. So same thing we are going to do today as well. Save it. It's going to ask for a package. just save it as a local object. Okay. So today what we explore is how to create a user-defined data type. Okay. How to create a user-defined data type. Yesterday what we did is we used the built-in data types present in ABAP to create data objects. Now sometimes what happens is the already present elementary data types are not sufficient for application development. So what we need to do is we need to create our own data type. Okay, just like in C, we create structures. Here also we can create structure as a user-defined data type. Okay, so today's class we are going to explore user-defined data types. Okay. So the statement that is used to create a user-defined data types is the types statement. Okay. Types followed by the name of the data type that you want to create. Let us say I want to create ty integer. Okay. Yesterday we created a data object using the data statement. Now what we are doing, trying to do is we are trying to create a data type. Okay. So I want to create my own data type uh, called ty integer. Okay. So the syntax for creating a user-defined data type is somewhat like this. The keyword is types followed by the name of the data type that you want to create, followed by type, and then you can use a built-in data type. Okay. So what I have done here is I have created a new type called ty integer, which is of type built-in integer I. Which is of built-in type I. Okay. Now, if I want to create an integer, what I will do is I will use the data statement. Okay, data keyword lv int type ty integer. Okay. So what has happened is I've created a data object lv int of type a user defined type. The user defined type further references to a built-in type or integer. Okay. So this is a quite trivial example, and it might not uh, clarify the concept as why we are trying to use a um, custom data type when we are ultimately referring to an integer only. Okay. So furthermore, to clarify the concept further, let us say we want to maintain a particular record of a particular employee. Okay. So we want to create a new data type called employee. Okay. Just write the comment employee data type. Now, in order to store a data of an employee, what are things that are required? Are the first thing the employee will have is an employee ID. Okay. What the employee can have is an employee ID. What else an employee can have? An employee can have name. Okay. Followed by can say name, then employee ID, then age. I can have age. An employee can have a salary. Employee can have date of birth. To store a single employee's basic data, we are talking about basic data, not the extended one. We are just trying to maintain a master data of an employee. So there can be multiple employees also in an organization. So basic data can you can think of these many attributes of an employee that we need to store. Okay, so we'll stop at these many attributes only. There are n number of attributes that can be thought of, but for now, fine that we settle for these five attributes. Now, one employee is going to contain these five attributes. Let us say we want to maintain. Is it possible that we store each of the uh, attributes as different variables? No. So what we need to do is we need to create a single data type which will have all these fields within itself. So how to do that is use the types statement. Okay, begin of py employee of py. Effectively, what I am doing here is I am creating a structured data type. Okay, if you try to match an analogy with C programming, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a structure containing these five fields. Okay, so the employee ID. So the first field is EMP ID of type. Now the employee ID, let's consider it to be of numeric character. Okay, of length. The employee ID, let us say it can have a length of 5. Then what we'll do is we'll create a second field called name. Okay. Name can be a character field. Now what we can do is we can assign the name to be of length, let us say 25 characters. Okay. Then age. Age, if you see, age can be an integer. So I can use I for age. Then what we can do is can create a field for salary. Okay. The salary can for now be considered as an integer only. Date of birth, DOB. Now we know date of birth is going to be a date, so uh, it will be of type D. Okay. D stands for date, I is for integer, C is for character, N is for numeric character. Okay. So ultimately what I have done here is I have created a new data type called TY employees, okay, which contains all these five fields. Now each of the field is belonging to a different data type. Okay, the first field EMPID is of type N. Similarly, the second field is of type C, age is of I, and similarly DOB is of type D. So it's a collection of heterogeneous data type. Okay. So what here I have done is declare a structure. Declare a structure data type. Okay. Now based on this data type, I can declare data objects. Data objects are nothing but data variables. Okay. So let us say I am declaring LV employee type TY employee. So now what this line number 30 is doing is I am declaring a data object of type TY employee. So whenever I declare such a data object belonging to a structure data type, what is going to happen is this data object is going to have five fields within itself. Okay, so we can have five fields in this data object, and we need to maintain these five fields, and we can manipulate these five fields in our code. Okay, so for example, what can we do is we'll try to fill in these fields LV employee. So directly we cannot fill the fields. What we have to use is the hyphen. Okay. LV employee hyphen. If you do control space on it, what you'll get is the fields that are present in this particular data object. Okay. So the first field is EMP ID. So I need to maintain that. Please look at what is the data type. It's character of it's sorry. We are talking about employee ID. So it's of type N with a length of 5. So it's numeric character. There are 4 characters, and you can maintain any of this values. Just a value that we are trying to maintain. This similar we have to do for remaining statements. So employee ID is done. Then what we need to maintain is the name. Name is numeric character. Sorry, name is character of length 25. So we can maintain any name. Okay. We can just maintain a string as name. Age is an integer. So age I can maintain. Let us maintain some age here. An integer number. Let us say 25. Then comes salary. Salary is also declared as an integer type field. So that also we can maintain. Okay. Then the last field is the date of birth. And always use code assist. Right. So DOB. So date, I will just use the today's current date as. Try to check the syntax. LV employee is not defined. Yeah, a typo is there. Typo error. Remove that typo error. Check the syntax. Seems to be. So what we'll do is we'll place a debugger here and try to understand what is happening. Okay, internally. So in order to stop the code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a breakpoint statement. Later on, we'll see that this is not the correct way of using breakpoint or stopping the code using the breakpoint statement. The correct way is, first of all, you need to activate the code, and then you need to click on this pink strip wherever you want to stop the code. Just place a session breakpoint over there. The code is going to stop, and the debugger is going to trigger at this particular point. Okay, so execute it. What we wish to understand is what is the structure of this particular LV employee. Okay. So I want to have a look at LV employee. So what it says is LV employee is a structure flat. Okay. What it says is it is not char like. It is not char like because we have integer fields also. Okay. So integer can never be treated as a character. That is why this what this says is here description says is it's a flat structure. What is a flat structure? That also we are going to explore in upcoming classes. What is a flat structure? What is a deep structure? Both these things we are going to explore. Nested structure. We have deep structure. Deep structure is sometimes also called as nested structure. But let's not bother ourselves with details of unnecessary details as of now. Okay. So LV employee, if you open up this, you are going to find these 5 fields. Okay, the values are initial. Okay. The values are initial because we have stopped our execution at line number 34. We need to execute these 5 lines then the values will get filled. So just open up and do single stepping. Fi is the function key that you can use to perform single stepping. Next, Fi employee ID gets filled, name gets filled, age gets filled, salary gets filled, date of birth is today's date. Okay, the date is always maintained as YYYMMDD internally. If I try to print it out, yesterday we saw that it's going to print out DDMMYY. So just execute it. Okay. So please go on mute. If you are not speaking, please go on mute. So I now wish to print out these values on the screen. Okay. So to print out the values, yesterday we saw that we have a syntax or we have a keyword called write, using which we can print out the output. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to print out the employee ID followed by name, followed by age, salary, and date of birth. So since I'm going to print out multiple statements, I'm going to use the write keyword followed by a colon. Okay. So first of all, I want to print out the employee ID. ID. Okay. If I want to print the next uh, variable that I'm trying to print or next field that I'm trying to print as a new line or on the new line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a forward slash, okay, followed by name, employee name. We are trying to print employee name, copy paste, won't waste time in typing all this. Again, a forward front slash. So ID will be printed on the first line. The next line is going to print out the name. The next line is going to print out the age. Copy paste. There seems to be a syntax error because we have forgot to use the comma. Front slash. उसके बाद है salary. And then finally DOB. So this should write out the variable values for us. Just check the syntax. Seems to be fine. Activate it. I'll just remove the breakpoint. There is no need for this breakpoint now. This breakpoint also I need to remove since it's a hard-coded one. Activate the code again and execute. Yeah. So these are the values that are getting printed. Okay. If you look at the date again, internally we saw in the debugger it is maintained as YYYMMDD, but while printing out it is printed out as DD, MMN, and YY. So a single variable of structure type can hold multiple values. Now, what if I need to maintain multiple employee details? Okay, so this is fine for a single employee. Okay, So if I want to maintain, let us say 100 employees, I'm not going to go on creating such 100 employee variables here. So to deal with uh, multiple data with similar data types, what we have in our basic programming is an array. Okay, so the array data object is also there in ABAP, but here the array data object is called as an internal table. Okay, we have arrays in ABAP also, but in ABAP these are called as internal tables. Okay. So what we have seen till now is how to declare a structured data type, how to declare a what you can say user defined data type. The user defined data type syntax is the type statement followed by the name of the new data type that you are trying to create, followed by the type statement, and then uh, you are referring to an built-in data type that comes after the type keyword. Okay? This is how you can use the user-defined data type to declare your own data object. Okay? Here, what we have done is we have created a structure. Each of the field is referring to a built-in data type of ABAP. Okay? So now what we'll do is we'll look at arrays or internal tables in ABAP. Okay. So the syntax to declare an array, the simplest of the syntax to declare an array or internal table is this one. Since it's a data object, we are going to use the data keyword. Okay. Internal table, the naming convention is somewhat like this: lit employee. Okay. Type standard table of PYM. Type standard table of PYM. Okay. So the main difference between the data object LV employee and the data object LIT employee is that LV employee will be able to hold data for a single employee only. Okay. Will be able to hold data of single employee. Okay. And LIT employee, it's an internal table, it's an array, so we'll be able to hold data for multiple employees. It's going to be able to hold data for multiple employees. Okay. I will just comment this code for now for generating the output, and we'll try to have a look at how this internal table uh, appears in the debugger. If you are not understanding anything, the only thing that you can do is just use the breakpoint statement or use a session breakpoint and try to understand it via debugging. Okay. If you are not able to understand what is an internal table, no issue. Just I've changed the code, hence I have to activate the code again. Place a breakpoint over here and just execute. Please go on mute. Please go on mute. So what we are trying to understand here is what is the structure of LIT employee? What the description is. Initial standard table. Initial in the sense it has no values. Please go on mute. Yeah, thank you. So what we are trying to understand is what is the structure of this LIT employee. Okay. So what we see is 0 cross 5. 0 cross 5. Just open it up. 0 cross 5. It looks like a table. While looking at it in the debugger, it has 5 fields, okay, or 5 columns. So what the first number indicates is the number of rows cross number of columns. So we have 5 columns but no rows. Okay. So internally, this particular additional box bracket, what it signifies is the internal ABAP data type. The employee ID field is having internal ABAP data type of type n with a length of 5. That is what it is signifying. Okay. The name column is of character type with a length of 25. Similarly, age, salary, and DOE have their respective data types mentioned over. Okay, 4 stands for 4 bytes. So integer is consuming 4 bytes in the memory. Uh, Date of birth, as we know, D internally is maintained as a character with a length 8. Okay. So this is how an internal table looks like in the memory, or internally ABAP treats it like a table only with columns and rows. So now the next thing that is important to us is how to maintain this table. How to maintain this table. So we have some set of statements. Have some set of statements using which we can uh, fill in the data in this internal table. Okay, just write in this internal table. It's a very important concept. It's like bread and butter for an developer. Internal table, very important concept. We need to have a clear understanding of what an internal table is and how to manipulate an internal table. Okay? So the next thing is fill some records or fill some data in the internal table. So what I'm going to do is I already have some data filled in this particular variable. Okay. So if you look at it, LV employee and LIT employee both are referring to the same data type. Okay. So one particular row of LIT employee is having these 5 fields. Okay. So what I can do, I can use this LV employee to fill in the data into this LIT employee. Okay. So the already I filled in data in this LV employee variable or data object. So the statement is please go on mute. Please go on mute. It causes a distraction. Yeah. Thank you. The statement that I'm trying to use here is append. Okay. Append this particular LV employee to the internal table. Remember, this is possible only because one particular row of LIT employee has these 5 fields, and LV employee also has these 5 fields. So a common data type is referenced by both of these data objects. That is why this particular statement is valid. Okay, you cannot use any variable to fill in the internal table. The row type of the uh, internal table should match the structure of the data object that we are trying to use to fill the internal table. Okay. Now, this is going to append one row. Okay, one record has been appended into LIT employee. What if I want to append multiple rows? So what you can use is this particular statement: clear the LV employee variable. Okay, clear means it's going to clear the memory. Whatever data is there inside this particular data object, that is going to get wiped off. Okay, but the memory is not going to be released for this employee variable. Okay, LV employee के लिए memory जो है, it's not going to get released. Only the data inside the memory location will be wiped off. We're going to look at it. We'll look at it in the debugger also, how these things are working. The same set of statements we can repeat again. Same set of statements we can repeat again. And this time around, we'll simply use some different uh, set of data. Employee ID, I guess I've used 6 characters long. I'll just change in the name to something like this. Okay. Date I won't change. Um, Let it be as it is. So what I can do is again I use the same statement. Append use the breakpoint. Then we can. So effectively, what I've done is I've filled the LV employee with a set of data. I've appended LV employee to the internal table. Okay. Then I've cleared whatever data I had filled in earlier. Again, new set of data I filled in, and again appended the record to the uh, internal table. Uh, have a look at it in the debugger to have a better understanding of what exactly is happening. Activate the code. I'll start debugging from this point onwards. Okay. Just execute. The LV employee has the data that we have filled in above. LIT employee has no data. Then what we are going to do is we are going to do an F5 on this particular statement append. As you can see, one row has been appended to the internet, 1 cross 5. Okay. Just open it up. The data has been filled. Row number 1. Okay. And the data that was there in the LV employee data object has been filled as the first row of this internal table LIT employee. Okay. Further, you can do F5 clear LV employee. The effect is that all the values have been cleared. Okay. All the values have been cleared. Again, fill in the new set of values. New set of values have been filled now in LV employee. Again, same statement is there, append. So append in the sense it's going to add a second row to LIT employee. Okay. So this was the first row. This is the newly added row. Okay. So likewise, we can add any number of rows to this LIT employee internal table. Any number of rows, literally any number of rows can be added. As you can see, there is no size specified for the internal table anywhere. Okay, like in C programming, there is a size on the array. This is a dynamic array. LIT employee, you can fill in any number of rows in a particular internal table. It is only limited by the memory that the compiler or ABAP runtime environment is able to allocate. Okay. Sometimes there can be like uh, in real time processing, there can be 2 to 3 lakh of entries inside this internal table. There are scenarios in which we need to process 2 3 lakh data also. Okay. Sometimes we have to process 50 lakh entries also. Okay. So literally there is no size limitation uh, as of now on an internal table, okay, in terms of how many records that can be appended into an internal table. Okay. It is purely an ABAP runtime limitation, that how much memory is available with the ABAP runtime environment and how much it is capable to uh, allocate to the internal table. Just plus and uh, complete the execution. So what now? I need to print out the values. I need to print out the values that are present in the internal table. So since this we are processing multiple values, what we can do is we can use a loop. Okay, looping statements are there in ABAP. The do loop is there, the while loop is there, and a normal loop is there. Okay, in 7.4 NetWeaver, we have for statement as well. What we can say, it's a for loop. So earlier it was not there. So depending on the version of the NetWeaver you are using, NetWeaver, in the first lecture I had highlighted the NetWeaver is an environment in which your ABAP code can execute. Just like JRE or JVM is an environment for Java code to execute, the ABAP code, the code that we are writing, can execute in only the NetWeaver environment. Okay. So depending on the NetWeaver environment's version, uh, certain syntaxes are supported, certain syntaxes are not supported. So the for loop or the for statement is supported only on NetWeaver 7.4 and above. Okay. So we can check the NetWeaver version uh, here also. Okay. The current NetWeaver version that we are using is here you can see 751 in the sense it is 7.51. Okay. So the for is supported here. So it's a recent version. Actually, it's an S4 HANA system. So by default, it's an S4 HANA system. The NetWeaver version is generally 7.5 and above. Okay. So all the new syntaxes are supported. So we are not trying to learn new syntax, but just general info that I was providing regarding the loops that are supported. So the loop, we are going to use it very trivial loop. The statement is loop. Okay. A loop, when once you type loop, it's going to give a pop-up to loop, and then press tab. What is going to happen is it's going to create a loop and loop structure for you. Okay. So it's the statement structure loop at. Loop at what? Loop at internal table. Loop at this internal table. Okay. So what the basic idea is behind the loop is we need to print out the data inside, present in the internal table. So loop on this internal table one row at a time and print out the results. So it's going to be a write statement. Okay. The write statement comes later, but the idea is that just loop at this internal table one row at a time, and whatever row that you're currently processing, just print out the results. So loop at internal table into LB employee. Clear LB employee here. The general idea is just loop at this internal table into. So one row at a time means if you are processing one row, then you need to have a data object which is capable of holding that particular row that you are processing. So the processing will start from the first row onwards. The first row is copied entirely into this data object LV employee, and then we can write out. So the write statement is the same write statement I am going to use. Copy this write statement, paste it here, and comment this. Check the syntax, seems to be okay. It's a very trivial loop statement. What the statement says is loop at this internal table. Again, no counter is specified how many times we need to loop. The loop automatically determines what are the number of entries present in this internal table, and accordingly it loops that many times. Okay, no need to specify a counter. It will loop until all the entries of this internal table are processed. So the breakpoint this time around needs to be applied here, okay, at line number 56. Execute. Go to desktop key. So LIT employee, as per our previous code, we are appending two entries into this LIT employee internal table. Okay. The LV employee is blank. Okay. It is blank simply because we have written a statement here, clear. So just press an F5, do an F5, the first iteration of the loop. Okay. Check what is the value of LV employee. LV employee has this value. Okay. If you open up the internal table, this is the first row. This is the first row of the internal table that has been copied into LV employee. Okay, the processing has started from the first row. This is visible here also. Okay, SY tabix is a system variable which tells you which row number is getting processed currently. So SY hyphen tabix, you just type it here. The value is 1 means the first record is getting processed. First record of what? First record from this internal table is getting processed. So the right statement is getting executed. Each of the fields are getting printed out for the first row. Okay, and loop, the control C goes back to the loop statement again. Now the SY value is 2, indicating that the second row is now getting processed. So to double check, what we can do is we can just open up LV employee. This is the data that is currently reflected in LV employee data object belongs to the second row of the internal table. Okay, 45612, 45612 is the second row that is getting processed. Okay. No need to go that further also. You can just check the value of SY tabix value is 2 in the sense second row of from the internal table is getting processed. Okay. So you can see till here the first employee gets printed. From this point onwards, the second employee gets started. If you want, you can just use this as well. New line operator. Formatting of the data is not our concern here. What we are trying to understand is the concept of internal table. Now it seems to be okay. Still, you can add a separator between the two employees. That also is possible. So, so what we have seen is how to create a user-defined data type. Okay. Uh, Typically, we have seen how to declare a structure, how to create a data object, structure type data object, okay, by referencing a structure data type, how to create an internal table to store multiple records of the same data type. Okay, it's somewhat equivalent to an array only. Mm, how to fill in the data in a structured variable. Okay, remember this operator, we call it as hyphen, or sometimes it's also called as a member selection operator. Member in the sense structure member. Okay, so age is a member of the structure variable LV employee. That way it is to be read. Okay, so hyphen is called the member selection operator for the structured variable. Uh, yeah. One more important point that I need to highlight is whenever you are processing an internal table with the help of a structure variable, whenever you are processing an internal table with the help of a structure type variable, then the structure type variable is called the work area. Okay, so very important. So LV employee here, let's copy LV employee. LV employee is also called work area. Okay, so here also, here LV employee, we are treating it as a work area. Structure variable is treated as work area whenever the structure variable is used to manipulate data present in the internal table. The structure variable is called as work area. So this is the concept of internal tables and work area. Okay. Same thing I'm going to just copy paste it. Here's the statement, the commented statement at line number 38 and line number 39 are effectively the same. Okay. Uh, because I've created a new table type here, new type called table type TTY employee, which is of standard table, which references a existingly created. Okay. So that is the concept of table type. If you are not uh, feeling comfortable with this loop, uh, then we can explore one more loop. For example, we can what we can do is we can since these are repetitive statements, these also can be placed inside a loop, okay? And then we can fill the internal table. For now, I'm keeping it as it is, not changing anything. So this code will be available for your reference later on. Any doubts in today's class? What we have studied here is uh, how to create a new data type, how to declare a work area. Okay, work area is nothing but a structure variable. How to create a table type, how to declare an internal table, how to use a structure variable to manipulate the data in an internal table. Although this is a very simplistic view of how the data can be manipulated, there are multiple other statements by which the data in the internal table can also be manipulated. So we are trying to get into the basics of the internal table. What we have studied is how the structure variable or work area can be used to manipulate the internal table. Okay. So that's it for today's lecture.